My name is Alexa.
And I'm Alice Ann, and we are student nurse midwives at Vanderbilt University at Nashville, Tennessee.
Our program is one of 39 programs in the United States that educates men and women to become certified nurse midwives.
And our program is following the trend that midwives come from everywhere, so it does not require a bachelor's in nursing to be admitted. If you do have the bachelor's in nursing, the program takes a year and a half, and if students need the nursing content, the program takes 2.5 years.
Mine and Alice Ann's class has about 24 students who come from all over the United States to Vanderbilt to become midwives, and about half of us will graduate in December with our midwifery certification.
And the other half of us will be continuing on for one more semester to get our family nurse practitioner degree, which will allow us to see the entire family throughout the lifespan.
The video that we made for you today is an introduction to midwifery in the United States, and it's told from the perspective of students in our program. We hope you enjoy it, and happy International Day of the Midwife.
So in the United States, CNMs have a pretty wide scope of practice. They're able to provide the full range of primary health care services to women beginning in adolescence and through and beyond menopause. So this includes physical exams, prescribing medications, managing medications, drawing labs, ordering labs. It really runs the full gamut of whatever the primary health care service the woman is really seeking. CNMs also provide gynecological care, family planning services, preconception counseling, antepartum, intrapartum, and postpartum care, as well as care of the newborn up to 28 days. In addition to this, CNMs also offer treatment and testing and treatment for partners, both male and female, for sexually transmitted infections. One of the hallmarks of midwifery here in the States, and I think really across the world, is that CNMs look to meet women where they are. So a big focus is partnering with women and families to really address their specific needs and tailor the services provided for their specific needs. And a big push in the United States is really to promote health education, health literacy, really to help women empower themselves through counseling services, through wellness education, and health promotion, really.
Nurse midwives work in a whole bunch of different settings, which I think is just so cool. I'm excited to work in each of these different settings throughout my career. The main one, most midwives deliver babies in hospitals. There are also nurse midwives who work in birth centers and then also in homes, providing home birth care for moms in places where that's legal. And then finally, in addition to each of those settings, most midwives also practice in gynecologic clinics, providing well woman care to women throughout the lifespan. I took doula training to kind of get my foot in the door, learn what birth was all about, and then I applied to nurse midwifery programs my senior year of college and since I didn't have a nursing background, I did what they call a bridge year to become an RN before beginning my 4 semesters as a nurse midwife student at Vanderbilt.
Before I decided to become a midwife, I was working as an EMT in Chicago for about 3 years. I studied biology and bioethics in undergrad, and I knew that I wanted to have a part in healthcare, but I wasn't sure what that part was.
For this, I studied nutrition in my undergraduate degree. I knew I wanted to work in healthcare, but I wasn't really sure where, and so choosing to study nutrition gave me all the prerequisites to go to whatever field I wanted to as far as medical or nursing, and through that I kind of learned a little bit about midwifery, and then I did a international internship in India working in a maternal and child health organization, and had the opportunity to see multiple deliveries, and I just kind of fell in love with it at that point, and that kind of brought me to where I am today.
My degree is in women's studies. I graduated from college in Mississippi, and straight after college I worked for nonprofit organizations. And a couple of years into working for nonprofits, I decided that I really wanted to pursue my dream of becoming a midwife. So I became a doula, and I served my community for 10 years in various birth-related roles as a doula, a midwife's assistant, prenatal yoga instructor, childbirth educator, until I decided to come to Vanderbilt and become a nurse midwife.
I have a bachelor's in music education. My primary instrument is the cello. I've taught orchestra to students in grades 2nd through 12th, but majority of the time I was teaching middle school, so that's grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I taught out after school for 6 years in 3 different states.
There are a few ways that you can become a midwife here in the United States. The first one is a certified nurse-midwifery program, which is the one that all the people you've seen in the video today are a part of. A certified nurse midwife is a person who has been trained as an RN, or a registered nurse, here in the United States, and then goes on for 2 or 3 years of continuing education to get their Master's of Science in Nursing. The people that graduate from this program, about 96% of them will work in the hospital setting, about 3% of them will work in a birthing center setting, and about 1% in home birth. The second option is a certified midwife. The certified midwife will get a master's in midwifery. It's about 2 to 3 years, and it's very similar to the program that I just described. That's the certified nurse midwifery program, except it doesn't have the training to become a registered nurse. The final 2 options are the certified professional midwife and the traditional birth attendant. Those primarily work in either home birth settings or in birthing center settings. It takes about 3 to 5 years, and they're often apprenticeships and training programs that don't result in a master's degree, and you also don't have to be a registered nurse to become either of those. Depending on the pathway that you choose to become a midwife, there are differences in legalities from state to state. So certified nurse midwives are legal to practice in all of the United States, though their practice might differ from state to state. Certified midwives are only allowed to practice in about 2 or 3 states right now in the United States. And lastly, certified professional midwives are allowed to practice in about half the states.
So I decided that I wanted to be a midwife, or really felt the calling to be a midwife after spending some years abroad, and I just believe that there are too many preventable maternal and neonatal deaths around the world, and I just think that this is a really special area, and I'm very much looking forward to my future work.
I've always enjoyed working with women and babies, and the emphasis on patient-centered care, really working with patients to figure out what they wanted their healthcare to be like, really appealed to me.
I've been really lucky to get to do some service trips abroad and to see kind of the plight of women in rural communities overseas who don't have access to any obstetric care, and I was really torn between rural health and midwifery, and I think the thing that really hammered it home was that the fact that there are women dying overseas who are having babies on their own with no help at all, and dying needlessly because nobody knows to massage her fundus or her tummy to prevent hemorrhaging or to stimulate breathing by rubbing a baby's back, and so people are dying unnecessarily. So what I want to do is I would like to train community health workers and midwives to go into these rural communities, or from those rural communities to serve their communities to prevent some of those needless deaths.
I decided I wanted to become a midwife because I love the diversity of the field, and I really want to work with women, especially in underserved communities, and the model of midwifery just seemed like exactly what I was looking for as far as where I wanted to be in healthcare, so that's what made me choose midwifery.
I always was interested in pregnancy and birth and women's health. Particularly, I felt drawn to empowered models of healthcare. And as I got older and into my 20s, I still was not really sure what the right place was for me. And I was in British Columbia for a year, and it was there that I met other aspiring midwives and doulas, and knew instantly that that was who I was. That was where I was meant to be. And soon after college, like I said before, I became a doula and worked in that capacity and was on the path to become a home birth midwife, a certified professional midwife. And over the years, I just continued to want to learn and to feel like I wasn't quite ready to be a midwife yet. And I decided that I wanted to be the best midwife I could be and to make a difference in the lives of as many women and children as I could. And eventually, that led me to becoming a certified nurse midwife.
I want to become a midwife because I view midwifery and nursing in general as education, as teaching. And I love teaching, and I view this as one-on-one teaching to help make the lives of women and children and families healthier, especially given that I want to work in a rural area. So I get to see the whole family.
I'm Alexa.
And I'm Alice Ann.
And we're